What's up? How we doing? Today's Sunday? Sunday. Happy Sunday. So now that we are sort of out of the woods of the Closer Look series, I want to move more towards the personal growth side of OP. So these next couple of videos, at least, are going to be maybe not hippy dippy so much, but certainly more existential, philosophical, sort of more in the bent of like, okay, how do we take the concepts that one can learn from studying OP and actually apply them, right? Because OP is really, really good, and knowing all the parts and the boop and the bop, that is fantastic for sort of beginning your process of self-growth and discovery, identifying areas that you need to work on, identifying tendencies, identifying patterns of behavior between you and the people around you, right? Like there's a lot of different utility in understanding the parts and being able to map things onto that. But there's a whole other side of OP that is very, very much about growing as a person, getting in touch with the inner you, right? Or connecting with the people around you and getting out of your inner you, right? Like this sort of holistic approach to living is something I think that really makes OP different from Myers-Briggs, which is why I love it so much. So I want to make these next few videos. Let's see where this goes, right? I don't know how long they're going to be. There's a chance they may be shorter. There's a chance they may be longer. Who knows? We will find out. But I wanted to start with this video of time, this idea of time, because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And it sort of ties into the last non-closer look video, which was about, right, status and the character and not being urgent. But I think that there's a little bit more nuance that we can have there. And I think that it's important to be able to look at time in like a bunch of different ways, man. Because like, what even is a minute, right? What even is an hour, a day? It's all just like humans creating structure out of chaos, which is as weird as that's like, that is time, right? Like we experience time and we label time as what it is because that's all we got, right? Like we have to do something to count something, right? But it is arbitrary. There's no reason that 1 minute has to be 60 seconds long, right? What if we shorten the length of a second? Then there's more minutes, right? We can make it 100. I don't know, whatever. I'm not time, math, physics guy. But like, this is what humans have sort of agreed on these days, and that's what we're going with. So, I want to talk about it, though, in the context specifically of the Friends theme song, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. So let's talk about it. Why do I care about those four? If you're tracking anything less than a day, there is a very good chance, not guaranteed, I don't know what kind of work you do, there's a very, very good chance that you're tracking too small of increments, right? If you're trying to track something that you have to do every hour, I'm honestly even thinking of anything that you have to do every hour that isn't like an actual medical condition, right? But once you start to get into days, now we're talking about taking pills, right? Now we're talking about um, whether it's taking your blood thinning medication, or whether it's, did I eat a salad today? Um, did I go to bed by 11 o'clock? I'm going to throw in, did I go to the gym? I think that, unless you are a turbo athlete, going to the gym every day is not necessarily the answer. But like certainly tracking, okay, did I do some sort of physical act, or the 5,000 steps? For sure, doing 5,000 steps a day, that's not going to, or 10,000 steps, right? The 5 miles. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. If you want to take a day off, that's fine. But like, that's a thing that one can reasonably do kind of every day. You work up to it, sure. But like, did I get my 10,000 steps in? Did I drink my 8 glasses of water? Again, whatever it is. Those are things that you can track on sort of a day-to-day basis, right? That can be really, really useful for these small, important, but mechanical kinds of tests, right? If you're tracking something over the course of a day, you want to make sure that it's a box you are checking, right? That it is not a project, it's not a multi-step thing, right? It's something that has some sort of concrete sensory limit on it, right? Did I sit in front of a computer for 2 hours today and try to write something? Did I read 15 minutes today, right? Like, whether you're measuring, small temporal chunks, whether you're measuring tasks, they got to be little. They have to be concretely achievable. Like, there's no ambiguity about, did I eat more than 0 vegetables, right? It's, again, that's a binary thing. If I ate a Brussels sprout, a single Brussels sprout, a sprout from Brussels, one of them, that, great, we had a vegetable. Over time, you will get better at this. That is not like the goal is like, I ate a Brussels sprout, I'm amazing. Like, you'll get better than that, right? Like, we'll ramp up. We're ramping up from here, guys. It's totally fine. We're good. Those are the things you want to measure over the course of a day. Over the course of a week, what has helped me is these are projects that are a little bit longer, but these are more like chores that need to be done more often than never. More often than never. Things like going to the grocery store, going to Target, vacuuming your apartment, general cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the kitchen, doing meal prep. I think that chores are really, really good to track on a weekly basis. If you're trying to track chores daily, I think it's trickier. I know people who historically, I don't think they do this anymore, but I know people who would have, like, they and their partner at the time, like, they made a chart and they put it on the refrigerator, and it was like, yeah, on Monday we do this chore, on Tuesday we do that chore, and we're not, so that they're not doing all of the chores all at once. If you want to get super meticulous about it, God bless you. I don't know that is necessarily the best way to do it at scale. One thing that I did, so for the past 2 months, so I've been doing bullet journaling from January 1st to now, right? And in January and February, I was doing it week by week. Every week, I would make a thing, write a whole new little setup. I'd be tracking the things. And then I did that for 2 months. And I was like, you know what? Just as an experiment, I want to try tracking over the course of a month. right? And a big reason for that is that I had, in the course of those 2 months, like after the first couple of weeks, I didn't have to track what time I was going to bed at night and waking up in the morning because I was doing that automatically, right? I wasn't having to track how much I was spending on groceries and on food because I was eating out less and necessarily spending less. So I'm like, okay, I can put my mental energy elsewhere, right? And when you get into things you're tracking over the course of a week, now we're getting into non-mechanical territory. We're getting into potentially emotional territory, right? Because Lord knows I got plenty of hangups about doing dishes. I'll clean the bathroom all day long. Don't care. I cannot wait to live with a partner and for her to be like, look, I'll do the dishes. I'll clean the kitchen. Just please do not make me ever clean the bathroom. And I'll be like, shit, give me that bathroom, right? But of course, there are chores that I dread and things I like and things I don't and whatever, right? And so there is, when you're getting into things that are tracked over the course of a week, you need to give yourself that emotional space, that emotional flexibility to be able to go, okay, I have a block about doing dishes. Where is this block coming from, right? I'm not doing dishes tonight, but I'm going to do work to actually fucking figure out, why do I hate doing the dishes? What is it about dishes that doesn't immediately click for me like cleaning the bathroom does? And for me, it comes down to college. So in college, I lived in a fraternity, and we had weekly chores that we had to do. Sign up on the little board, and I think it was taking it, one of the chores was stupid easy, and it was oh no, I know what it was. Cleaning the bathroom was the rotating chore because nobody wanted to do it. But then it was take out the trash, you sign up for it, vacuuming, sweep, whatever it is, right? And so I got in the habit in my college years of just cleaning the bathroom. It's just a thing you gotta clean. Same with vacuuming. I built the muscle of vacuuming while fucking vacuuming, right? But dishes were weird because not only were we on a meal plan and didn't eat, right? Didn't eat didn't cook the food that we ate, right? We ate in the fraternity house, but we had a chef come in because that's just how the meal plan system with the Greek system worked, right? She went sort of from fraternity to fraternity. There were 5 different rotating chefs among the 15 fraternities. So each one did 3 houses, right? So I never had to learn to cook in college ever. The cleanup, we had an industrial washer. So even that was just load the thing, pull down the big handle, and just go away for 2 hours, right? And then in New York, I didn't have a dishwasher, and people eat out all the time in New York. You don't really do dish, right? So all of this is to say, there's gonna be some weird unpacking shit that you have to go through. There's kind of no way around it when it comes to chores that are weekly, right? So give yourself that space, give yourself that flexibility. Market is the thing that has to get done. And so what I did the past couple of weeks or past couple of months for my weekly chores, I just knew, okay, if I don't do it during the week when I feel like it, Sunday is the day. Sunday is the day we go to the grocery store, we do the meal prep, we do the boop and the bop, and it's great, right? That's just a thing that we do. And then over time, I've been able to stretch it out, take care of this here, that there. Again, you got to find your process. Figure out what works for you, what feels good to you, what makes sense to you, however that means, whatever your interpretation of that is. You got to do what works for you, right? Those are your weekly chores. Those are the things you want to track over the week. Over the course of a month, now we're getting into real project territory. I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and we were talking about very similar. He's not part of this community at all, but he was saying a lot of the same things. You know, the idea of like doing the work and holding yourself to a high standard and being efficient, but also not learning to not feel bad for not accomplishing everything you set out to do. And we were going back and forth and trying to pick this apart. And where we sort of landed on it was a lot of what, Shave have been saying, which is, start with a small to-do list, right? Knock off those tasks. And then whatever you do on top of that, congratulations, that's gravy, right? Similar idea. And what he and I were sort of talking about is like, look, we're efficient guys. He's like, I don't know where sleep is in his stack, but he's got a lot of blast and a lot of consume, right? Solidly info dominant, and has been. I think we're very similar types, if not whole ass type twins, because he has a lot of. He's sort of coming into his sleep side, right? His internal processing, his FI, right? And what we were sort of talking about is like, we're really efficient when we want to be, right? We get 30 minutes worth of work done in 31 minutes, right? There is not a lot of friction. There's not a lot of dicking around. For like, oh, this is the task. Boom, 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 boom. We just hammer it out, right? But there's a lot of time leading up to that where it doesn't look like work is getting done, but it is. It is internal work. It is whether it's emotional work, whether it's mentally organizing, whether it's calming yourself the fuck down, like whatever it is, that counts as work. You aren't not doing work. And that's something that took me a really, really long time to figure out, by which I mean like last night before hanging out with this guy is when I fucking figured it out, right? Being able to go, oh no, right now, that is part of my process, right? Watching an episode of Will and Grace is part of my creative process. And I know that sounds like bullshit, but I'm really conscious of what that is doing, right? It's saying, okay, if you don't take this time to relax, to unwind, to give yourself not only the cathartic release of laughter, but the light mental stimulation of something that has nothing to do with what the other things you're trying to do, when you try to execute something, it's going to be really clunky, and you're going to be trying to do the decompressing, relaxing work when you should be, when you could be actually being really productive, right? With this other person, time of day, whatever it may be, right? So understanding for myself, okay, well, like it'll get done, and sort of giving myself a deadline of this will get done, but giving myself even more emotional flexibility of, yes, if I'm trying to write a pilot, right? This sort of segues into the year kind of mindset, but it's, a pilot's big. But even something smaller, right? Like I just want to finish a book. Like I want to read more. There's shit that I'm interested in reading, but I don't have the discipline to, I just haven't read a lot. Great. That's a great month-long project, right? Because what you're doing is you're front-loading with all this emotional work of getting over your bullshit about reading, your bullshit about, no, I need to be available to the outside world. No, fuck you, you don't. You're allowed to just read. And, there's something they talk a lot about in acting, and like the really, really skilled actors, oftentimes, I would say that at scale, the most skilled actors are the ones, like, I saw a video of Judi Dench, right? Dame Judi Dench. Fucking powerhouse actor. She's one of those, like, you can't do, like, if you cast Judi Dench, like, who else are you gonna get, right? And it was like a behind the scenes, it was like some featurette, it was some interview about her. And I think the movie was called Notes on a Scandal. Yeah, Notes on a Scandal. Where, like, she stalks Cate Blanchett, basically, right? And it's a whole thing, and she's fantastic, and they're all terrific. But there was a little featurette thing I was seeing, and it was showing some, like, B-roll, behind the scenes type footage. And she is laughing between takes. She's joking around, right? And then as soon as they're like, all right, and camera's up, she's able to drop into her character really quickly and go, shoomp, laser focus, fucking bang out the scene. And then she's back to chilling. J.K. Simmons is another one who does this. And again, this is partially my bias, but I think that it's an incredibly effective technique that, when he was doing Whiplash, which, as I mentioned before, is an incredibly intense movie, really, really emotionally hard to watch in a lot of ways. It's a phenomenal movie, but it's really intense to watch. Like, there's a lot of emotional intensity and really kind of brutal arguments and fight scenes in a way. And between takes, J.K. Simmons makes a point to sort of overcorrect and be like, because he has to be such a piece of shit in this movie and so dogmatic and double masculine and intense and screaming in people's faces, he's like, whew, oh, you're in cancer here. There's also the component of he needs to remind his own system that, like, I'm not this human. This is a side that I tap into to do the work that I do. And I think that relates to any sort of larger habit you're trying to build, right? Because you don't film a movie in a day, right? On a really tight schedule, you'll film it in like 11 or 12 days, but like usually it's a longer process, right? For the actual filming of it. And you chip away at it and you start to find new things. And that's, there's the rehearsal process, it's a whole fucking thing, right? It's a process. There's work that needs to be done leading up to the first day of shooting. Much in the same way that there's a lot of emotional work that needs to be done leading up to the first time you go to the gym. The first time I like went to the grocery store to like buy groceries, it was a weird fucking experience because I had to I remember I was living in Glendale at the time. I was just sort of visiting and scouting. But like right when I moved here, I was like, I need to go out of the city because I'm afraid of the grocery store near me because I think is going to be I need like the calmest, nicest, sweetest grocery store that no one's gonna bother me and it's gonna be fun. Like I really needed someone to just like pet my hair for a second. Right. And then obviously over time, I found my routine. I was like, oh yeah, I can go grocery shopping after the gym in the morning because my schedule is wonky right now. And I do a lot of stuff, in the later afternoon, right? Early evening. That's another time I get work done. Or hell, my favorite fucking time to go to the grocery store is before 8 a.m. Oh, you want to find some great fucking human beings. Go to the grocery store at 7:45 in the morning. These are my people. You want to know my people? Like, these are my people. I'm talking fucking a woman in fuzzy Ugg slippers with an elastic band around the back of her heel next to a woman in a dress drinking a Starbucks with 4 pieces of laundry on her arm. Like, I'm just like, mwah! I fucking love it. And, figuring out like, oh yeah, okay, this is an appropriate time for me to go to the grocery store because I'm a morning person. I love doing laundry in the morning when nobody's around, right? Which again, sort of segues into this like month to year, right? You can divide it up even further into sort of seasons or quarters or whatever. I think that anything between a month and a year is enough in the same category that I'm going to lump it kind of together. These are the big things. These are the life habits you're trying to build. These are you could drop me in any situation and I know how to handle myself because I've built up the discipline. I've built up the patterns. I have failed enough that I know how to either not fail or fail in a way that mitigates the damage, right? So one big pattern I've been working on is cutting grains, not out of my diet permanently, but way back. Because my body does not process sugar super well. And it really does not process grain well. I have a decade's worth of beer drinking to prove just how badly that goes when my body tries to process grain. So I've been working with a nutritionist and no rice, no pasta, no bread, no pizza, no corn. And I've been doing that for a month. And now I'm actually meeting with her tomorrow. And I'm going to talk to her about okay, I did the month. It's not quite Whole30, but I did the thing for 30 days with 2 mini slip ups. And I call it they were deliberate, they were conscious. It was I was at a party and I wanted one piece of pizza to socialize with people and to bond with people that way since I couldn't drink. And then I went to a famous pancake place with my parents and I had a little piece of the pancake, right? And again, I'm not actually doing Whole30. I didn't need to restart. I'm not super dogmatic like that. But I want to talk to her about look, I want the option if we go to an Italian restaurant that has fucking handmade noodles, I want to be able to hand make some noodles, right? I want to have some handmade real Italian noodles with a nice ragu sauce, right? Something like this, right? I was I don't want to deprive myself of that forever. I want to start to bring that back in, right? And that's the much longer goal, right? Now we're getting into 3 months, 6 months, a year. These are patterns you're going to have with you for life, which means you're going to go through a bunch of different iterations of it before you land on something that actually works for you, right? You're going to go through, okay, trying to never eat bread is not sustainable for me, right? Because if I break, then I'm going to break really hard. But I can now look at all of the bready things that I was eating. And I was I don't care about the bread part. I care about the salt, fat, and acid part of the things that the bread was a receptacle for, right? That's all I give a shit about. Okay, great. Now I can be really, really deliberate about what grains I do consume because I know that I will be consuming the grain itself for a purpose emotionally and nutritionally rather than, well, I want an excuse to have salt and fat and acid. So here's a piece of hot bread that will let me consume that, right? It doesn't need to be like that, right? We can do better than this. And being really conscious of my blood sugar and being able to go, okay, I can mentally plan ahead. I can feel myself starting to dip. So now I'm going to gently bring myself over the hump, right? I just go this way, right? Gently bring myself over the hump, and then I start to dip a little bit. And I gently bring myself over the hump, right? Rolling with the homies. I really feel like rolling with the homies is going to be a theme in a lot of these videos. So just know, I just want you to know that I know that rolling with the homies is definitely, that might just be a video at some point, the rolling with the homies video. All of this is to say, when it comes to what you are tracking and the timeline on which you are tracking it, be really specific about where you're trying to put things, right? If it is a task with no emotional attachment, make it a daily task. If it has some emotional attachment, weekly task. If there's emotional work leading up to even starting it, monthly task. And if it's something that's going to be so nonlinear and ebb and flowish that to track anything less than a year wouldn't make sense, now that's a year-long goal, right? Those are the things where it's like, I weigh 380 pounds and I want to get below 300, right? That's a year-long goal. Like, there's so much work you have to do emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, like on so many levels. And even to the point of like, okay, I know that I need to buy 30 personal training sessions. I do not have the money for that right now. So part of my process, starting right now, is saving up so that I can buy a pack of training sessions, right? The part where you're saving up, that's work. You're doing work right now. The work does not start the moment you start working. The work starts the moment you decide to do the thing and to take active steps towards starting. So give yourself some grace. You don't need to go from 0 to perfect. You just have to start by doing something. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.